Growing up, didn't have like the best household. I grew up with three other siblings, two sisters, and an older brother. I'm the baby of the family, and it was my mom and dad. And I grew up with a pretty abusive dad in the household. It wasn't great, it was a lot of living in fear and stuff. And it stayed that way until I was about 10 years old when we left the house in the middle of the night and we went to my grandma's house. And we kind of just bounced around for a long time until I was about in eighth or ninth grade. And we found a house in Eden Prairie and it was this one church, and they let us live at this house for free for like a year, and we got to stay at there. And they had a youth group there. And so I kind of felt like I probably should go to youth group on this church that we're living at for free. And I started going there and met a lot of good friends and started to hear about Christ. I got asked to go on a retreat in ninth grade, I really didn't want to go, but my mom kind of made me go. And I went on this retreat, and we had this worship night. I ended up giving my life to Christ that night and really believing in Jesus and believing in God and that he was our Savior. And I really accepted it into my heart. But then about a month after that retreat, I was at my dad's house, and I got a call from my sister. And she told me that my brother had died of a drug overdose. He had been in and out of rehab and depression and a lot of mental health struggles his whole entire life. But that blow completely knocked me over. Whatever roots I'd built that month prior and believing in God was just totally washed away. I didn't want to have to do anything with God. I resented him and hated him. So then about a month after my brother had died, that was the first time I tried drugs. And it just snowballed and snowballed. It was an escape from reality, and I kind of just started skipping school, doing drugs, wanting to be high or alone, just by myself, and just being able to escape from whatever life I had then. That continued basically all through my freshman and sophomore year, and then my junior year, I started going back to that same youth group every once in a while and got to see some people. But I got invited to a camp called Young Life Camp by one of my friends. And I got to just see people with a hope and a purpose and just a happiness in their life. And it was so evident it was because of God and because of the love they felt. And I wanted that for myself. And I started to really build my relationship back up with God. Although all those new things that I love to do, and I really started to feel like God in my heart, and I knew I believed in him, all those old ways were kind of still in me, still wanting to just escape reality, still having mental health struggles and being depressed and just wanting to be high or alone all the time. A week before I was supposed to go to college, I was going to go to Augsburg. I went on a just bad streak of drugs, and I ended up overdosing, was in the hospital for a few days. And I don't remember any of it at all, but what I do remember is I woke up next to my dog in my bed, my house, and then I went out of my room, and my Young Life leader was just sitting in my living room, just waiting for me. And she wasn't mad at me. She wasn't angry. She was just there and accepting me for who I was. And that moment kind of clicked with me. I was this random person who I've only known for 6 months. They care about me so much. I know this is only a glimpse of God's love for me. And since then, it's kind of changed everything for me. I started leading middle schoolers in wildlife and started doing Young Life, leading high schoolers. Did as much as I possibly could. And then last summer, she recommended I do the CBC internship and apply for it. So I did, and then it's just kind of continued from there. I started doing the leading high schoolers and middle schoolers, and I realized this is something I want to do with my life. I don't know how I can go to a 9 to 5, just a random job. I feel this is something I need to do every day and try to spread that love that I know is spread to me from God.